The man had gone crazy. Despite it being $1 million vase, he smashed it into pieces without hesitation, just to select 2 similar shards of glass. Then he wrapped the edges of the glass with strips of cloth and walked out wearing these makeshift sunglasses. Next, he climbed the 20-foot-high structure to reach the ceiling, left hand gripping a knife sharpener, right hand holding a spoon, and began his dismantling work. His idea was simple. If he could remove the bulletproof glass, he could escape the mansion through the ceiling. As dust slowly drifted down, his homemade sunglasses proved extremely useful. But as he chipped away, he discovered something unusual. Beyond the outer layer of cement, there were screws holding everything in place. The hope that had just ignited was instantly extinguished. But having come this far, he could only take it one step at a time. However, after finally removing the entire frame, he discovered another row of screws inside. From his expression, you could tell he was truly at his wit's end. By now, the temperature had dropped to 43 degrees Fahrenheit. He could only huddle under blankets, eating cold food while staring at the expensive paintings. Just then, the nearby security monitor suddenly lit up. He turned his head to see the same cleaner from before cleaning at the door. Jack excitedly rushed to the front door, shouting loudly while banging on it. But the door's soundproofing was too effective. She couldn't hear a thing, so he decided to slip a note under the door to get her attention. But surprisingly, there was no gap underneath. He had no choice but to grab a frying pan and pound on the door again. Yet no matter how hard he tried, it had no effect. By the time the cleaner took the elevator and left again, he leaned against the door in despair, breathing heavily. Then he returned to the living room and collapsed exhausted on the sofa, wishing he could just die and never wake up. Within days, his food finally ran out, and the temperature switched from cooling to heating. But continuing to wait helplessly would eventually lead to starvation, so he regained his determination. First, he dismantled a chair, then carefully carved out a groove with his knife, finally creating a tool resembling a wrench. To his surprise, this improvised tool he made on a whim actually worked to unscrew the bolts. But just as he was about to remove the second screw, the wrench broke under pressure. Still, he didn't give up and made another one. He thought things would continue smoothly, but misfortune struck again. He accidentally fell from the high structure, creating a long gash on his left leg. He immediately bandaged it with whatever he could find, barely managing to walk normally. But as he walked, he noticed the smoke detector on the ceiling. In an instant, inspiration flashed in his mind. He tore paper into pieces and placed them in a bowl, then used a magnifying glass to focus sunlight and ignite the paper. He poured high-proof alcohol onto prepared fabric. After lighting his torch, he limped into the kitchen and used all his strength to climb onto the stove, holding the torch high toward the smoke detector. Sensing fire, the detector immediately activated the fire suppression system. The entire mansion was instantly drenched in water. Jack seized this opportunity to rush to the door and call loudly for help, but despite shouting for a long time, no one answered. Clearly, his plan had failed. After the water stopped, the mansion was filled with puddles. It seemed the only way to escape was to unscrew all the bulletproof glass. After his relentless efforts, 12 screws were neatly arranged on the sofa. He finally removed the bulletproof glass, but before leaving, he left an apology letter on the wall. Then he climbed the high structure and escaped through the skylight in the ceiling.